Hi friends, it's Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a little different from what I usually do because I'm going to be doing a reading vlog, but it's going to be focused on manga. So I know I've talked about manga a few times in some of my reading vlogs, but I've never actually done a video or reading vlog dedicated to manga. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. And manga and watching anime is like one of my other big hobbies besides reading books. And actually at the moment I tend to watch more anime than the amount of manga that I read. And some of that is because watching anime is something that my husband and I do together. But I would also like to read more manga, and so that's one of the reasons I'm creating this vlog, because this will hopefully kind of get me to start reading more manga again. Because when I was like a teenager, I used to read so much manga. I had a pretty good sized manga collection. So in today's video, we will be reading manga, but in addition to that, I thought it could also be fun to chat about some anime that I've been watching lately and what I've been loving. And so the manga I'm going to be starting off with is going to be The White Cat's Revenge as Plotted from the Demon King's Lap. And this is volume 4. So I know I spoke about this one a little bit in one of my other reading vlogs. And so I first came across this one at the library and I just immediately fell in love with the series. It's just so cute and cozy, and it is an isekai, so our main female character does get transported from the modern world to a fantasy world. And I'm just gonna read the description of volume 1 to give you an idea of what this series is about. So Ruri just can't get away from Asahi. Her clingy, oblivious childhood friend is beloved by absolutely everyone, making Ruri the target of resentment and jealousy from Asahi's horde of groupies. When Asahi is summoned to another world to be their priestess princess, of course Ruri gets dragged along for the ride and branded a traitor who must be exiled to the woods. But now that Ruri is finally out of Asahi's shadow, she may just find that a new world is the perfect place for a new beginning. So that's kind of just a basic overview of what the story is about. But also in here, our character, when she gets transported to this other world, she ends up finding this bracelet that lets her transform into a white cat. And then there are fairies in here, and the fairies are the ones that are responsible that allow magic to happen in this world. And for whatever reason, they love Ruri, and so they kind of follow her around everywhere. And just like the illustration of the fairies are really cute. Oops, let me find one. You know what, I will pop up a picture of the second manga volume's cover because it has the fairies on there, and then you can see how cute they are. So yeah, when she is exiled to the woods, she actually ends up being taken in by this old lady who lives in the woods, and through her she learns more about the world. And then afterwards she ends up going to the Drakodome, which is the kingdom that is ruled by beasts, and their king is the Dragon King. And she ends up meeting the king and the people at the palace, but she does so when she's in her cat form. And the king, when he meets her, he's just like so smitten with her because since he's a dragon, pets have like always ran away from him and been afraid of him, but she does not run away from him. And so he's kind of just like amazed by that. And so she ends up staying at the palace, but the thing is like they don't know that her true form is actually a human. And so this is just like really cute and sweet and fluffy. And then if you are a fan of cozy fantasy, I definitely recommend this series. And the series was originally a light novel series. And so the manga is an adaptation of the light novel series. And right now in the US, there are 4 volumes out, and the 5th volume of manga is coming out on March 24th, which is really soon, which makes me happy because when I first started reading this, only up to volume 4 was printed. And there was like no news about volume 5, so I was like wondering if they had just like decided to stop making the manga, which would have made me really sad because I love what I've read of this so far and I think it's gonna like be a new favorite manga series. And so I'm glad that volume 5 is indeed coming out. So I'm gonna go read this, and then after I'll come back and give some thoughts, and also maybe then we can have a discussion about anime that I've been watching recently and loving. I know that anime and manga might not be everyone's cup of tea, so I am going to be uploading these videos on Wednesdays. So I would like to try to do like at least one anime and manga related video per a month. And so those will be uploaded on Wednesdays. And so those Wednesday uploads will be in addition to my Sunday uploads I do every week. So I really like how in the beginning of this volume there is like a recap of what has happened so far, which I really appreciate right now because the last volume I read was a couple months ago, so I could use a refresher a little bit. So I've read this and it's just cute and cozy like the entire series is. However, there was a conflict that had been going on for a little bit that finally got resolved in here. And even though that conflict was kind of serious, the story still overall felt very cozy and comforting. And so that's all I'm going to say about that because I can't really say anything else because spoilers, but I am excited to read volume 5 when it comes out. And now I thought we could have a little chat about anime. So in the B-roll that was before this, you saw me watching anime, and that's one that I'm currently watching on my own. And that one is The Fated Magical Princess Who Made Me a Princess. So I only have like a couple more episodes left to watch, and I'm really enjoying it right now. It's just like really cute and sweet. So according to the description of the anime, it follows a girl who is reborn into the world of a book called The Lovely Princess. The character that she is reborn as actually has a tragic fate in which she ends up being executed by her father. And so this girl is determined to like avoid this fate. And so the story starts off with her like as a very young girl, and so she is determined like she can kind of stop everything going into action if she kind of just avoids meeting her father. And her father is the king, but when our main character was born, her mother died in childbirth, and her father decided that he didn't want anything to do with our main female character, and so he handed her over to be raised by like servants, and she lives in like a totally different building on the palace grounds. And so she's trying to avoid him, but of course she ends up wandering off, and she actually wanders off to where he lives on the palace grounds. And so she runs into him, and she's like, oh no, like she is so like frightened of him. But he actually ends up taking an interest in her, but she at the time doesn't really know what's going through his mind because he doesn't really show much emotion. But he ends up starting to invite her to have tea with him, and so through that they get to know each other and they start spending more time together. Just seeing like their relationship develop is just really cute and sweet. And so like this anime like focuses like majorly on the relationship between the main female character and her father. And so like it's very much like a father-daughter story with like just like a tiny dash of romance thrown in with some other characters. There's also magic in here, which our main female character ends up befriending this really powerful ancient sorcerer named Lucas. And so on the whole, the story is just really cute and cozy, but there is like a evil mastermind at work in the background, and that's like at the point where I'm at near the end, that is kind of taking center stage, and some things are definitely going to start happening because of that mastermind. And I'm curious to know exactly who the mastermind is. Like I have some theories potentially, but I'm curious to find out exactly who he is and why he's doing what he's doing. So that's that show, which I'm just watching on my own, but then I'm also watching a bunch of other anime with my husband because like every season like we watch a number of different shows together. And so right now we're watching like 6 shows together, which is a lot, and sometimes we do fall behind. But we are also watching Frieren, which I love, one of my favorite anime, and we're watching the newest season of that, and it's been delightful as always. And then we're also watching the newest season of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is definitely our dark and traumatizing show for the season. And then we're also watching the new season of Wishi no Ko, which this one, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say much about it because it's best to go into this one blind. But it's definitely one of those shows that like feels different from like anything else I've watched. And ever since like I started with season 1, like I just cannot stop watching this show. And then our cute fluffy little show that we're watching this season is There Was a Cute Girl in the Hero's Party, So I Tried Confessing to Her. And this is just like a cute little cozy fantasy that we just watched to like unwind. And then the last show we're watching, which was actually the one that like I didn't expect to like enjoy it as much as I had been enjoying it, is You and I Are Polar Opposites. So this one is a high school rom-com, and it's just so adorable. So as the title suggests, the 2 main characters are polar opposites. So the girl is very outgoing and seems carefree, but she actually cares like a lot about what people think about her. And then the guy, in contrast, is very quiet, but he speaks his mind. And so the two of them start dating at the beginning of the show, and it's just really cute. In addition to them, we also get the stories of like their classmates and their friends, and so we also see like the relationships that their classmate and friends are forming as well. And the show just on a whole is just so like cute and wholesome. And I definitely recommend it if you're looking for like a sweet and wholesome romance to watch. Hi, so I'm here with an update, and it's actually been quite a while since I updated this video, and we're now in March. Today is Friday, March 13th. And so I have some reading and some anime watching updates for you. So first, the anime update. So I did finish watching The Fated Magical Princess Who Made Me a Princess, and it ended on a cliffhanger, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting like the arc that we were in to wrap up at least, but that was not the case. It was like a horrible cliffhanger, and so I was like, oh no, like it cannot end like that, like there has to be more. So then I immediately went and looked it up, and there is a second season, and it's actually coming out in April, so that's actually really soon, and I'm really happy about that because I need more of that show. And then my reading update is today I read volume 4 of The Perks of Being an S-Class Heroine. So this is a Korean graphic novel, and I've first saw it at my library, so I read volumes 1 and 2 from my library, and I just devoured them. This graphic novel like pulled me in right away, and so I wanted to read more, but my library didn't have volume 3, so I ended up buying volume 3, and then I also bought volume 4 so I can continue reading this, and like this is just getting better and better with each volume. And I was reading this one, and I was just having like so much fun today reading this. So this is an isekai, so a girl who lives in the modern world ends up dying and gets reincarnated into the world of this novel. And the world of this novel is very harsh. The hero of the novel ends up like getting stuck in a time loop, and so he has to keep repeating things over and over to save the world, and he does not have a good ending. And our main character is reborn as a girl in the novel who actually ends up dying rather early in the novel. And so our main character has this knowledge, and so she's determined to prevent her death. And she also has the perks of kind of having like cheat codes. So she has like money that lets her buy like abilities and stuff. And so at first she uses those abilities like to prevent her death and also to better the lives of her father and her brother and herself. And so like while the world of this novel isn't a very happy place, like the book overall like has kind of like a cozy feeling to it because of our main female character and how she's using like her powers and her cheat codes for the better of everyone. And she is ultimately determined to become stronger, so she'll be able to help the main hero of the story and prevent his tragic fate. And I would say like this kind of reminds me of like a happier, more cozy version of like Solo Leveling. Like it very much has like that video game feel to it. And also this is in full color, and like the art is just like beautiful. And I love how our main female character gets a bunch of different really cute outfits throughout the story as well. And so yeah, this has just been like a delight and a lot of fun to read. And this volume ended on a cliffhanger, and so I need to now get volume 5 because I don't own that yet, so I'm gonna have to purchase that very soon because I need to know what happens next. Alright, so with that, I'm gonna end the video here because this has been going on for a while and I kind of don't want these videos to be too long. And my next anime and manga related video will be a recommendation video in which I recommend cute and cozy romance anime and manga. And I was originally planning to get that video out before this one, but then I lost my voice, and so the filming of that one got pushed behind. But I plan to film that one very soon. So that will be coming soon. But Let me know what you thought of this video if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!